To wielki zaszczyt tutaj móc rzeczywiście w tych murach krótko również witać poprzez panią Swiatłanę cały naród białoruski w naszym otwartym, gościnnym, polskim domu. Chcę też wspomnieć, że w tych murach kilkanaście lat temu utworzony został program imienia Konstantego Kalinowskiego, naszego wspólnego bohatera białorusko-litewsko-polskiego, poprzez to, który program przewinęło się już ponad 1000 białoruskich studentów, którzy mogą być rozsadnikiem białoruskiej kultury w Polsce. To dzięki nim także, dzięki ludziom wolnej Białorusi, którzy wolną, demokratyczną, suwerenną Białoruś cały czas noszą w sercu i walczą o nią. Jesteśmy dzisiaj tak blisko również sercem, a nie tylko polityką z naszymi braćmi Białorusinami. Cieszę się również, droga Swiatłano i panie rektorze, że nasza walka, wspólna walka jest walką również ponad podziałami politycznymi. Dziękuję wszystkim posłom z partii opozycyjnych, którzy poprzez wspieranie rządu w tym zakresie wzmacniają nasz głos na forum Unii Europejskiej. To bardzo ważne, bo dzięki temu ta walka może szybciej zakończyć się sukcesem, bo to, że zakończy się sukcesem, ta walka o naszą i waszą wolność. Polska ma długą tradycję takich walk. Wiemy doskonale, bo czekaliśmy ponad 120 lat na naszą wolność, jak z upragnieniem na tę wolność, suwerenność czekają dzisiaj również nasi bracia Białorusini. Poprzez nasz program Solidarni z Białorusią, poprzez kontynuację otwarcia na Białoruś, poprzez animowanie sprawy białoruskiej na forum Unii Europejskiej będziemy, bracia Białorusini, cały czas z wami, będziemy wam pomagać w tej waszej walce. Jesteśmy pełni podziwu dla waszej determinacji, męstwa w walce o wolną, demokratyczną, suwerenną Białoruś. Niech żyje wolna Białoruś. Dziękuję.
Dear professors, rector, and the students, thank you for this amazing opportunity to speak at the Warsaw University, one of the leading schools in Poland and Eastern Europe. When I came into campus, I saw so many Polish and Belarusian students greeting me, and I'm really touched with such solidarity. I'm touched, but I'm also stressed because I'm always stressed. I'm on speaking on a lot of people in front of me. So I have some notes, just not to lose the line of my speech. I'm sorry for this. I understand I have to say without sheets, but several months ago, I'm sure that everybody in Belarus know about my story, why I'm here, why I am a leader of the majority now, why I'm a national leader of Belarus, but maybe not every one of you knows about it, so let me tell this story just shortly. Several months ago, I couldn't even imagine that I will be in such position and I will be speaking on behalf of my nation. I wasn't involved in politics, and like many Belarusians, I lived my life. I lived in my small world with my husband and with my children. I was raising kids, keeping my house warm and safe. I really didn't know what was going outside for many years, and when I knew, it opened my eyes. Everything began with my husband, Sergei Cichanouski, who started his YouTube channel, Country for Life. Along with him, I was exploring life of Belarusian through his video. He was traveling around Belarus and telling the stories of ordinary people. Through these videos, I learned about the situation in the country. I knew about poverty, corruption, inequality, and injustice. And together with him, together with other Belarusians, I realized that Belarusians' stability is nothing more than just a myth. For many years of life under this administration, Belarusians were humiliated and intimidated. The regime treated all the citizens as servants. Belarusians didn't have power. Belarusians didn't have a voice. And the worst thing is that no one believed that this status quo can ever be changed. Sergei, my husband, gave, during all these trips, he gave microphone to all those oppressed and offended by the power. People followed him and trusted him, and he gave them something more than, and Sergei gave him something that the authorities couldn't provide. He gave them a voice and self-respect. It wasn't my fight back then, but things had changed when Sergei was detained before the election campaign. Authorities didn't want him to run for president, so as they saw a big opponent in him. When it happened, I decided to go to the Central Election Commission and registered my initiative group to run for president. This was my first step, and it was absolutely for love. It was absolutely only for my husband. It was my choice after this to become a leader, because day by day I understood that all those people who believed my husband, they started to believe in me. I saw in their eyes such a striving for changes, such a wish to build a new country for themselves and for their children that I just couldn't betray them. I just couldn't step away. And it was really difficult way, because I was afraid every day. Every day I woke up and I had to step over my fears and move on, just knowing that I have to do this. I have to do this together with all the Belarusian people. And now my role was simple: to give Belarusian people something that was stolen away from them, the voice and power. I ran to conduct a new fair and a new election. And on the 9th of August, our voices, the voices of Belarusian people, were stolen. There is no doubt for Belarusians whom they voted for. I know that I was chosen as the president of the Republic of Belarus, but so as all the voices were stolen, now we can't prove it. So Belarusian people had to go out to defend their voices. And we are in the middle of our fight. Our protests, as we know, have started in May, and they are not going to fade out. The point of non-return has passed, and it has passed at the moment when, in the moment of that great violence, our peaceful people faced on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of August, when people were grabbed on the streets and put in jail, and they were roughly tortured. I'm sure that, I hope that you have seen all those pictures that our people showed after they were released from the jail. At least 6 people were killed at the moment. A lot of people are, we still don't know where a lot of people. A lot of people are still in hospitals. A lot of people, some people were raped. And it was a great shock for all the Belarusian people, because we really couldn't even expect that such violence could happen in our country. You know, at the moment, the regime is trying to scare and demoralize us, but it relies only on force. We rely on our solidarity and vision of new Belarus. I will try to answer you why our protests are so unique now. First of all, it's led by women. Belarus has never seen such involvement of female activities on all levels. Women, as one of the most oppressed groups, are praised. Women collected the signatures for candidates. Women shared stage with me. Belarusian women were always on the front line. They were breaking police cordons and protecting men from the police. And I'm so appreciate the role of women in this fight, because I understand how difficult for women is, but I'm sure our women were inspired. I hope so. They were inspired by my role in this process, because there were 3 women of us who started this protest, because our men were jailed. So we found strength in ourselves and step out instead of them, and we found strength in ourselves to move on. And all these women who are protesting now alongside with us, they understand that our role in this life is much greater than they got used to think. In reality, we can be leaders, and we are kind, and it's really difficult for men to contradict us, women. So, you know, I think that our Belarusian authorities, they lost the role of internet nowadays, because I think that they are so old-fashioned. Maybe they forgot that world is moving on, and they forgot about the role of internet nowadays. So the protest in Belarus is empowered with technologies and messages in particular. YouTube lets people tell their stories without fear and limitations. Telegram messaging app lets people share news without censorship. Authorities lost control over their information space. There is a great propaganda now in Belarus. It is against Belarusian people who are fighting for their rights. Its position is against me, because they show me as an evil of Belarus, as if I want to give our country to, I don't know, to European Union, but what they have is only propaganda on TV, but our people don't believe TV anymore. Thanks to all the alternative channels that can show what's going on in Belarus without censorship, and we know that some of such alternative channels are located here in Poland, and I'm really appreciate that Polish authorities support these channels that can show what's going on in Belarus openly. So, and the third moment that is unique that protest is entirely grassroots and peaceful. Decentralized character and lack of leaders are compensated with a wide network of structures and self-organized groups. You know, now our authorities think that if they send out all their leaders of opinion from Belarus, they thought that the protest will come down. But they don't understand that it's not leaders who control these demonstrations, it's the people themselves. We are so self-organized in this fight. Every person in Belarus wants these changes. So our authorities will not be able to send all the people out of country. So these demonstrations will never end, because everybody in Belarus now is a leader. So I'm firmly convinced that Belarus protest must stay peaceful. I believe that it is impossible to fight violence with violence. Our regime demonstrates its weakness when sending soldiers against sinning, unarmed women. History knows many examples, such as Armenia or Tunisia, when peaceful resistance led to the leadership change. Many people in Belarus compare the situation in Belarus compared to the solidarity movement in Poland. Of course, do you hear me? Okay, thank you. Even microphones are weak against women. So many people compare the current Belarus situation to the solidarity movement in Poland. Of course, historical contexts are different, but there are also similarities, such as workers' strikes and various forms of political resistance. Works, okay. Thank you. Okay. It was a long path for solidarity, but for Belarusians, I hope that it will be much shorter. It is outrageous that the Catholic Archbishop Kondrusevich is not allowed to return to his country. Doing this, authorities want to create tension between the Belarusian Orthodox and Catholic churches, but they will not succeed. Obviously, Belarus's historical context is very complicated. We were always in between major powers, and our history taught us to be always cautious. Right now, there is a full consensus in the country that Belarus must remain a neutral but independent sovereign country. The protest has awakened Belarus's interest to their roots, to their national history. You can see the Belarusian historical white, red, white flag at each rally. Many Belarusians revealed the uncensored history and culture of Belarus. Similar to me, many didn't know about our roots, so people learn the history right now. Our nation is being formed right now. I want so much that Belarusian universities will be that place where Belarusians are taught
we have to check the services also at Warsaw University. You never know what can happen.
Yeah. Thank you. So I want so much that Belarusian universities will be the place where Belarusians are taught to be active and responsible citizens. And I admire all those students and teachers protesting daily in Belarus. I really hope that they will not be kicked out of the country as it happened before. And I believe that they need the solidarity from their peers in Poland. For so many years, Poland accepted our students expelled for political reasons. I am very grateful to Poland for the Kalinowski program. Thanks to this program, many Belarusian students graduated from Warsaw universities and other schools, and then they returned to build a new Belarus. Some members of my team also graduated from these universities, and they remember this university with the warmest words. I hope that this year we will not need to ask to accept our students, but if it happens, I hope Poland will be nearby. To conclude, let me emphasize the importance of events that are taking place in Belarus. We are really witnessing something historical. The nation that has been oppressed for more than 26 years finally has a chance to become free and democratic. And all our neighboring countries, the whole Europe, including Russia, will win from that. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such an honor for me. And thanks to your support in our fight for our rights. Thank you so much.